On a rainy afternoon in the city of Lahore, Ayan, a quiet university student, sat by the library window. His notebook was open, but his thoughts were lost in the sound of the rain tapping on the glass. He had always been the kind of boy who carried silence like a shield, keeping his emotions hidden. That day, however, fate had its own plan. A girl walked into the library, her dupatta slightly wet from the rain, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Her name was Zoya, and she was searching for a book that Ayan already had in his hand. Their eyes met, and in that silent moment something unspoken began. Zoya smiled shyly, asking if she could borrow the book once Ayan was done. He nodded, struggling to find words, and handed it to her even though he hadn't finished reading. Their conversation was short but meaningful, filled with small pauses that carried big emotions. Over the next weeks they kept meeting in the library, always pretending it was by accident. Zoya would tease him for being too serious, and he would laugh quietly, something he rarely did. Soon, Ayan realized that the silence he once loved now felt empty without her voice. For the first time in years, he felt alive. As time passed, Ayan and Zoya became inseparable. They studied together, shared coffee, and sometimes walked home in the rain. Ayan secretly wrote poems about her in his notebook, but never showed them. His fear of losing her friendship kept his feelings buried deep inside. Zoya, on the other hand, often hinted at something more, but Ayan pretended not to notice. One evening, under the golden glow of a streetlight, she softly asked, "Ayan, what do I mean to you?" He froze, his heart screaming, but his lips whispered only, "A friend." That night, Ayan couldn't sleep. His heart ached with the words he hadn't said. So, he wrote a letter, pouring out everything. His love, his fears, and his dreams of being with Zoya. Weeks turned into months. Ayan tried to call her, but her number was switched off. He asked around, but nobody seemed to know where she had gone. The silence that once comforted him now crushed his heart. The letter remained hidden in the book, untouched, unread, forgotten. He began to wonder if she had left because she knew how he felt. Loneliness became his only companion. 2 years later, on another rainy afternoon, Ayan walked into the same library. His heart still carried her absence like a scar. As he picked up an old book from the shelf, something slipped out. It was the letter, the one he had written for Zoya years ago. His hands trembled as he unfolded it, staring at his forgotten words. At that very moment, a soft voice whispered behind him, "I was waiting for this letter." He turned, and there she was, Zoya, standing with tears in her eyes. Zoya explained that her family had suddenly moved abroad due to her father's illness. She had tried to reach Ayan, but never managed to contact him. In her absence, she too had carried the pain of unspoken love. When she returned, the first place she visited was the library, hoping to find him. And there she found not just him, but the truth he had once hidden in words. The rain outside poured heavily, but inside, their silence finally broke. Ayan whispered the words he once feared, "Zoya, I love you." Zoya smiled through her tears, replying, "I've loved you all along." The library that once held their silence now echoed with their laughter. The forgotten letter had become the bridge between their broken time. Years of distance melted away in that single embrace. They stepped out into the rain, walking side by side, no longer afraid of destiny. The city lights glowed brighter, as if celebrating their reunion. And in that rain-soaked evening, two souls finally became one.